Hey everybody, good morning. Welcome to the morning show. It is Tuesday, October 8th. We took the day off yesterday to bring you good news today with the markets in the green. We've got some exciting topics for you. Before we get into these topics, though, we want to tell you, don't forget about our, we'll send a reminder out too, but we have our investment advisory board where we get together every quarter and we summarize where we've been for the last quarter. We look back, kind of talk about all the themes that we're investing in. And we also turn around and flip that to where it's forward looking too, to see what we have planned for the fourth quarter right now, and of course on into the next year or so. So make sure to check that out. Join us live if you can, so you can ask questions. We're always hoping for those hard-hitting questions. If not, a replay will go out, so you'll be able to catch us then. But for our topics today, I'm going to start us off. First of all, the hearts and thoughts and prayers going out to everybody dealing with all the hurricane stuff. I've lived in Florida in a couple different places up on the lower Alabama side, so I didn't have to deal with it as much. But I know that's just heartbreaking. I have a couple friends that took some time off, went down there just to help with that. But from an investment perspective, who benefits from obviously tragedies like this? Well, Home Depot and Lowe's, because a lot of things have to be rebuilt. So it's not trying to capitalize on somebody else's tragedy, if you will. It's just simply what companies benefit from these terrible hurricanes that keep hitting us. So I will start with that. Then Mike will switch to one of my pet peeves of all time. I can't even talk about it because I'd be too mad, so it wouldn't be a great presentation. But something called shrinkflation. If you don't know what that is, Mike's going to tell you all about it. You probably know what it is, even if you haven't heard that term before, and you've probably been just as mad as me. But he'll talk about that. And then the last one's kind of a fun topic. He's talking about Walmart and pet centers. I don't even know what he's talking about. I know Walmart sells pet stuff, so I'm looking forward to hearing that myself. Before we get started, this is a financial education presentation. You have to do your own due diligence for acting upon anything you hear in this presentation. More disclaimer information is available at AnkerstarWealth.com, and the opinions expressed are Mike and mine alone. Let's switch over to Home Depot. So one thing, obviously, if you're a conspiracy theorist, there's talk about how politicians control the weather. No, we're not going down that rabbit hole today. I don't believe that personally. I think weather controls the weather. But yeah, it gets, tragedies happen, whether it's hurricanes, earthquakes, floods, that it seems like there's always something going on somewhere. It's the nature of living here on this wonderful planet. Is it? Yeah, it does have its weather issues, snowstorms, ice storms, all of that stuff. Well, one staple, if you're ever looking for, a staple to have in your portfolio, is these building stores. Home Depot and Lowe's are the two that I'm going to show you. I like Home Depot better, but hey, there's other people that are just as faithful to Lowe's as well. But yeah, things are constantly being built, where the U.S. economy, we're always building things anyway. We're refreshing infrastructure. But as far as the actual homes, if you've benefited from being a homeowner, that they take maintenance, right? And you're constantly fixing things, and trips to Home Depot or Lowe's are like a every other week sort of thing. At least everybody I know, if you will. So should you invest in Lowe's? I will say we don't have either, or in Home Depot or Lowe's. We don't have either of those in our models. I don't really see what I would call that super big upside, like market out performance upside. But if you want something in your portfolio that you interface with on a regular basis and they do great over time, consider these stores like Home Depot. So here's the chart for Home Depot. This is a 5-year chart, so it is not quite back to all-time highs after it was 2022. But really, when you think of back here in 2020, we had COVID, the world was going to end. And after that, we had a little extra money on our hand, courtesy of the government putting some in the mailbox for us. And then out of that, people spent, happy to be alive, and kind of ran up a little too far there into 2022. So we had this huge move up. Things kind of settled in after that, and now we're starting that march back higher. When you look from a valuation perspective, though, PE at 27, that's really pretty cheap, considering a lot of the other things that are out there. A couple percent dividend while you wait. It's up 20% on the year, if you will, plus or minus a couple. So it's really kind of just that solid thing. If you're going to have, a dividend growth portfolio, or just, I'm going to buy and hold something forever, this is one of the things you should consider. I don't like Lowe's as much, but I will say they are at all-time highs. Their charts are very similar, but those all-time highs as well. A little bit cheaper on a PE perspective down here at 22, and it's up a little bit more this year. Dividends a little bit lower. Everybody's got personally, if I go to Lowe's, that means I'm going to find 25 versions of the thing that I don't want. But if I go to Home Depot, I'll find exactly what I want. It's just like that. That's been my experience. So I'll conclude there. Mike, any thoughts on Home Depots versus Lowe's before you take it over into your topics?
I'm closer to Home Depot, so that is my first choice. And then if I decide I want to price shop or go down to Lowe's to buy a grill or something worth price shopping, then I can go a little further. But definitely going to be around forever.
All right. Well, that's it for Home Depot and Lowe's. 2 votes, 2-0 Home Depot to Lowe's. So, all right, Mike, over to you.
Okay, Steve was so mad about shrinkflation. I bet you we never thought this. Him and Elizabeth Warren on the same page.
Yes, that has never been said before.
I think I remember Elizabeth Warren running for president or Democratic nomination, 4 years ago. Not sure what happened to her. I haven't heard much from her since. But, grabbing a topic that everybody hates, but should the government be mandating this? That's my question. So, certainly the government mandates for safety and things like that, but put a stop to shrinkflation. I just don't know that the government should be getting involved in this, but since they did, we'll go ahead and pull this up. So some of the examples they cite. So what this is a company puts out a box of cereal or a thing of, let's just say a jug of Gatorade, and they need to make more money because, us as shareholders, we want to make more money, right? So what they do is they kind of shrink the amount of product, but keep the price the same. So therefore, they make more profit. So how do they do this? So the example they brought up here was Cocoa Puffs. They took it from 19.3 ounces down to 18.1 while charging the same price. So they reduced it by, about 10%. And it's like, do you even notice? Well, you might not. You might just keep on buying and saying, wow, this thing didn't go up in price.
I notice.
You notice. And then the kids eat it and you get it. Instead of every 6 days, now you get it every 5 days, and it just kind of like, So another one they brought up was Gatorade went from its 32-ounce bottle down to a 28-ounce bottle. And they even said, and of course, Coke owns them. And of course, a spokesman had to come out and say, hey, originally 28 ounces was our original bottle size. We're just kind of going back to that. It's existed for over a decade. But, it's news. It's news. Now, as I thought about this, I was thinking at least the 2 examples, these aren't exactly the most healthy things. If they gave kids less sugar, if they could get the actual size down to 1 cup of cereal in a bowl instead of dumping in 3 cups of cereal, this might actually help health-wise. But I guess the point is this happens. So be aware of it. If you consistently buy the same products, you might actually start to notice that price. And most likely prices have went up over the last 5 years anyways. So this is just another way that we as owners of these companies make more money. That's the good side. The bad side is that's how we as consumers pay more for the same product. That's the downside. So, it is what it is. My only point I'll say is I don't think the government's got so many things to deal with, from immigration to weather relief and situations to geopolitical events around the world. Do I really want my government focused on shrinkflation? No, focus on those other things. Once you get all that stuff knocked out, we'll go to shrinkflation. Right. Put it in the parking lot, let it go. A consumer will take care of this one. So anyways, I don't know if I'd want to run on this ticket.
I can't let you transition without chiming in because it's too much, right? So here's my problem. I don't care if the Gatorade bottle goes from 32 to 28 ounces. It says it on it. and I can look at it and visually verify. What I don't eat Cocoa Puffs, but what I care about is things that come in a box or a bag where it's actually there's less in there. There's far more air, but they don't change the package size. If you change the package size, at least you have a fighter's chance of noticing like that's smaller, right? And you get the potato chips where there's like 2/3 air and the bottom part is potato chips, or a box of cereal where you're like, oh, they could have made the box a lot smaller because there's like nothing in the top half of it. So anyhow, I rant over.
We'll know we're in big trouble when they start selling 11 donuts and call it a dozen, right?
There you go. See, truth in advertising.
They just shrink the size of the donut, right? Or they cut a hole in the middle of it and sew the hole, and you get less donut. Oh, that was
right. Who came up with that idea?
They made a lot of money. That's who did. Duncan probably did. So here's another interesting concept. So Walmart opens 5 more veterinary and grooming centers as it makes a bigger push in pets. And when I read this, I was like, whoa, okay, I didn't know they were doing that. I know, like, just like Steve, they sell pet food, but hey, they're digging into more business. And if they continue to expand this, who does this affect? Now, the first part on I read the headline is they said they shuttered all the health clinics for people after saying they couldn't make the finances work. So people out, pets in, which is probably a good thing, because I don't know if I was thinking of healthcare, if Walmart would be the place I would like, oh, I'd get a great deal on my healthcare. I'm going to Walmart. That's where I think good deals. And I'm not sure that's the focus we should have, but your pet doesn't really complain as much. So anyways, what I really wanted to point out in this is the annual household spending on pets is expected to reach $1,445 per animal by 2026. And that's they show it as a 113% jump from 2019 to 2030, which, it's a little bit more than inflation, I would estimate. But Steve, I know you got a couple dogs, $1,400 per dog per year,
I would sign that contract right now if that limits me paying any more. It's like I would happily sign that because it's crazy expensive.
But crazy. So and they're going to do grooming there, and it's one thing, like, when you take your kid to Walmart, you can't really check them in so you can shop, at least the little kids. But maybe a pet, check in your pet, give the dog a haircut, grooming, whatever they do. I don't have any pets right now. So check in your dog, let them have that experience at Walmart, and then pick them up as you go through the checkout line. So my reaction was like, if Walmart's getting into this game, and just so this does not materially affect Walmart. Walmart's huge, right? But what does it do to competitors? So I'm going to bring up a couple stocks. One of them is Petco. And now just today, Petco's up 5%. Now I'm kind of stunned, like, wow, seems like this would be bad news for Petco. And if you look at their long-term trend, this is a 5-year graph, and their ticker symbol is actually pretty appropriate. Woof.
Woof. Yeah.
Oof. Petco was up to $25 a share. Now it's down to $5. So maybe they knew this was coming, but now, even though it's up 5% today, I would not rush out and buy Petco. And then another one is the online Chewy, also up 5% today. But if I reel it back, look at a 5-year graph, same kind of chart. Up, it was over $100 a share. It cratered down to like 15. It's at 29. But and Chewy's more online. It's e-commerce. So you kind of look at this competition. So there's a market share that's going up in dollars. You're saying that people are spending more on their pets. Hopefully less on their kids. No, they're spending a lot on their kids too, but they're spending more on their pets. So there's this chunk of pie to get a piece of, and Walmart's like, we're already selling the food. We already got people coming in to buy other things. If we add these services, it's just kind of augmenting it for the consumer. So it makes it easier for the consumer. And the article also talked about when people do bring their pets into these grooming centers, they tend to buy all their food there. Shocker. Chewy and Woof Petco are probably going to be in trouble when you start getting into this game. All I could see next is if Amazon digs in to hit against Chewy. And next thing you know, Amazon's going to be selling of that. So, interesting trends going forward. Bigger and bigger shops. Pretty much you can buy I wouldn't mind seeing Walmart sell more home construction. They might be able to compete more with Home Depot and Lowe's. It's interesting as they all work to get those same dollars. So.
There you go. Well, the only thing I think that's a great piece, Mike, and what I will say is that pet owners tend to spend the margins on pet stuff are way higher than human stuff, right? So when the pet has an issue and the pet has a need, there's no barrier to spending, it seems. And I will close with this: is that there is actually a behavior criteria that goes with your pets. Ours were invited to go somewhere else after an experience at Petco. So they do have such things as home groomers. So much like Amazon delivers to your door, you can have a person who's specially trained with anxious animals to come to your house to take care of things for grooming too. So,
are you telling me the Ankerstar dogs have been blacklisted from Petco?
We have reached an agreement with Petco that it was really that employee that no longer works there was also saying that to everybody that went through. But we did have to take it. We did have to take the feedback as, a look in the mirror moment of, they're not the best. They're not the best. They don't like getting their nails clipped, right? You can cut their hair all day, touch the nails and it's over. So yeah, we have issues here in the Ankerstar household is what I'm telling you. So, all right, everybody, thanks so much for listening in today. Tomorrow, I'm going to preview tomorrow, which we don't normally do. We were going to try to do it today, but we need to do a little more research. But Mike's going to tell us all about robo-taxis. If you're seeing the Tesla news, it's all over CNBC this morning. We need to find out what the latest is there, but we'll bring that to you tomorrow morning. All right, that's it for today. Thank you so much for listening in. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye.